He loves spending time with family and friends, but 15 years ago, he vanished.
We're here in Waterbury, Vermont, where we're looking for Donnie Messier. Donnie went missing October 15th of 2006.
I find it really hard to believe that he's out there, alive and well. That just was not his nature.
He was driving a red F-150 1997 pickup truck. His license plate number was
BGG 890.
This is Bill McIntosh. He's also going to be joining us today to help in the search for Donnie. He's done a lot of research and we appreciate your help. Thanks for coming up, Bill.
Honored to be here.
Courier says it was a tough time for her brother as he was going through a divorce.
On Saturday, Donnie Messier was hanging out with his father, working on his truck during the day. He had plans to watch a NASCAR race that night. Donald went to a friend's house, watched the NASCAR race with his friends, and then later that night he made his way to a party in the town of Waitsfield.
Donald Messier was last seen driving away in his red F-150 from a party on October 15th, 2006.
This morning, Bill and I had a conversation as to where we're going to start this search. We'll bring you into that right now.
Where did he go from that party? Was he going to Denny's? Was he going to the racetrack? Or was he going back to his friend's house that he had called at 1:30 in the morning? Or was he going back to the guys that he was with before watching the race? I think biggest thing is, what was he thinking? Where was he doing all his thinking? A lot of the conversations are that Donnie was thinking a lot, that he was contemplating a lot of things, that he was drinking for the wrong reason that night. And if he in fact was, going to a specific location all the time, where was that location? The next race the next morning, since they were big race fans, was at 10 o'clock in the morning at the Thunder Roads racetrack. He might have stayed in that location and started thinking about things. There are the quarries there, and there's a lot of quarries. It's 20 or 30 quarry locations that are very deep. That section is, you could be there for a few days. I think clearing this section, that center line from Blueberry Lake to Waterbury, I think is the clear path, and then you could branch out at a different later time to the quarries or to Lake Champlain.
Last time the team was here, they already cleared Waterbury Reservoir, so maybe start here and then work our way
back
up
across,
north. Yeah, okay, I like that plan. We also got Chris Ferris, who was up here last time AWP was in the area looking for Donnie, and he was kind enough to join us. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
And we also have Down Under Dan here, who's from Australia. He's gonna be my sidekick for today, and we're gonna see if we can find Donnie, at least bring some answers to his family. We're gonna get started with our search, but first, Chris is gonna take us over. Apparently Donnie's best friend works at a garage just over on the other side of the store right here. We're gonna go see if we can pick his brain and get some information, give us any clues as to some other areas that we might search today.
Nick, I just want to talk to you a little bit about his car. Now, we know from the police reports that he'd replaced the brake line. We know that his tyres were a little bit average, fairly worn. There's a lot of indications that this could just simply be an accident where he's gone off the road, a little bit of ice, cold weather.
We've got a lot of new tools this time. So on this particular search, we got the sonar ball, which will help us rule out some of these smaller ponds and stuff. Rather than taking the time to put a boat in, we can see, is this even deep enough to hold a car?
Yep.
If it's not. And we've also got a new magnetometer that we just picked up. So depending on the
It's going to be a game changer, that.
Oh yeah, that's big time right there. So I'm looking forward to finally using that at some point. We may not need it on this case, but we have it in our toolbox. So that'll help us quite a bit, make us more efficient.
G'day mate, how you going? Albert, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, how you going?
Hey Albert, I'm Nick.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Daniel.
Chris, this is Daniel. Jared.
Nice to meet you.
And Bill.
Nice to meet you.
So we understand you were friends with Donnie?
Yeah, I was quite a while. Actually, we worked here a little bit. He also helped me with my house, cut wood, and put the greenhouse together and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Donnie's a good guy. I've known him for quite a while.
Yeah, sorry that he's been missing. That's a terrible thing.
It's been a long time too.
So before we go to our first location to begin our search, I was just going to pick your brain and ask a few questions. If we've heard from some people that maybe sometimes he liked to go and think, and I'm hearing that maybe he would just drive around and do that, or
Yeah, he was a roadie, all right. He always rode around back roads, that kind of thing, and sometimes he would look at the deer, birds, that kind of stuff. But I do know that it was probably, I don't know, it's been a long time. That summer, I think it was around June, he was here helping me and he was having some issues. He kept saying that he has things he needs to take care of before he goes away. And it's like, well, where are you going? I mean, we don't want you to leave. We need you here. We want your friends, whatever. It's like, well, I'm just sick of life. I just want to go. I'm like, okay, well, you're going to go for a ride, whatever. And then month so goes on, working here, doing tires, that kind of thing. So I need some help at the house. I think it was around October. I don't remember the actual month. But the day before he disappeared, he was at my house, helped me with my air compressor, and he said something about there was a quarry that no one knows about other than him. And one of these days he's going to drive his truck off the quarry and no one's going to ever find it. I told him that, that really isn't the answer. That probably shouldn't be talking like that. I tried to calm him down a little bit, and then supposedly he was going to a party in Standard, and then that was the last I heard of him. I got a phone call Saturday morning here from his sister and wanted to know if I saw Donnie. I'm like, yeah, I saw him last night. I said he was fine. He was going to go to some party. I'm not sure where it was, but somewhere in Standard. And he said, well, we haven't seen him. Well, that afternoon, she called back and said, you seen Donnie? And I said, no, which is unusual because usually Saturdays he comes in and has coffee, and I didn't see him. And then all of a sudden, we get people come around asking, where's Donnie? Where's Donnie? I'm like, we don't know where Donnie is. He just disappeared. And that was the last I've heard of anything from Donnie. So I don't know. But how can you hide a big red truck?
Right.
I mean, Donnie's a big guy. He was huge. I mean, he was strong. He was a teddy bear, but he was strong. And, it was likable by everybody that came around him. But, a buddy of mine, Ron, had his boat. We went up to the reservoir. He had a fish finder. Mm-hmm. Went through there, went around places that I knew he hung out at, and nothing. I mean, I don't, deer hunting and that kind of thing, and no sign at all.
No sign.
But again, where's the truck?
Right.
How do you hide a red F-150, shiny, fresh, new paint, that kind of thing? I mean, where did it go? I don't know.
Right. What lake did you check, or did you check?
Well, it was the reservoir here, and then another friend of mine went up to Alago and Greens, up to Caspian and that kind of thing with fish finder, because the fish finder is only as good as it is. But we didn't see anything at the bottom other than crap, typical logs, that kind of thing. But we didn't really see anything that massive. But that quarry he was talking about, I know there was a bunch of other people that were talking about it and said that he knew of this quarry, but wouldn't tell anybody where it was. So I don't know if there's anything to that. I don't have any idea.
Okay.
He wouldn't have travelled very far though?
No, he didn't really go that far. Yeah. I mean, from here to Hardwick's an hour, Standard is maybe an hour and 20 minutes, that kind of thing, but I don't think he traveled that long of a distance,
Just in regards to his truck, okay, so you said that he helped you out a fair bit, so he's quite mechanically minded.
Very.
So he'd changed a brake line on his truck the day before. Did you know about that?
Yeah, he said something about he was going to do it, and I told him he needed help, let me know.
Yeah.
But I guess he had somebody else. I was busy, so I guess he had somebody else help him. I'm not sure exactly what they did to the truck, but there was something that was done mechanically to it.
And we had reports that maybe the back tyres were a little bit worn down.
A little bit, but I don't know if I remember right. I mean, it passed inspection, so I don't think they're that bad, you know. A little worn, but there weren't nothing, too significant to stop it from getting inspection.
Yeah.
And that night that he disappeared, I'm seeing on the reports that sounds like it got down to just below freezing.
It was cold, no doubt
So
about it.
was there any moisture on the roads? Was there a possibility of some frost or like slick roads?
Leaves.
Leaves, okay.
Falling from the trees, yeah. And sometimes that can be just as bad as ice.
Okay.
You know.
That's good to know. That's good information.
It was autumn. I mean,
He frequented Thunder Roads a lot.
He did, yeah.
He did. So a lot of quarries up there. There's over 20 quarries in that section specifically, but also right near the party location in Waitsfield, there's also Quarry Road, which has 3 ponds and a quarry there as well, which no one would know that they were quarries.
Right, exactly, unless you knew the area. But again, you would think that, you know, deer hunters, bear hunters, bird hunters, somebody would see something. People hike it all the time, so something you would think. But again, I hear a story where someone was hunting a year or two ago down in Barrie behind the Elks Club. They found a guy's wallet 20 years ago. From 20 years ago, then he found a skeleton. So it took that long to find that. So, you know, I mean, it does take a while.
Sure.
Because you have to be at the right place, right time.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I wish I had more help for you.
Yeah, no, that helps us quite a bit. That's good information.
We'll serve you as best we can, like as his friend. We're going to not give up. We're just going to check everything. You know, may not get it on this trip, but, you know, we don't give up.
Right.
That's the AWP spirit.
Blueberry Lake. Right outside of Warren Fault, right next to
Yeah, that's the same. Yeah,
Okay.
They just call it Blueberry Pond. But so this is the picture of it. It actually shows where it has 2 means of egress right into the pond straight through.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Okay, perfect.
There's a reason why he went to Waitsfield. There's a reason why he told him that he was planning on doing something with his vehicle. I think if that's the case, you know, we have to start canceling out the quarries specifically that are between Hardwick and Waitsfield.
Right.
You know, we'll start off with the Blueberry Lake because it's the furthest distance where someone could drive directly into, and then we can come back to the quarries themselves and start, you know, checking those off the list.
So let's look down here. This might be a good place to test out that sonar ball. In fact, I'm gonna grab that. You guys can go look at it. I'm gonna grab the sonar ball.
You could certainly get a bit of speed up too without those rocks.
Yeah, if those rocks weren't there back in '06, he could, you know, again, this is the furthest distance this way that we would go because it has a pond that actually has the depth, and you have access on that side too.
Yeah. See that dog runs in, it looks quite shallow.
Also, and I don't know if the guardrail was there, but I just don't know how deep it is.
Yeah, and if he's looking for a secluded space, I can't really see any houses that are looking down on it. It's a couple of, you know, early hours of the morning, dark as, no one else around. Just as you said, it just depends on how deep that is, eh?
He also fished here.
Okay, so he would know.
Looks like Dan's getting ready to wade out.
A little chilly, but he would have to be launching it to get it out.
Nice. Okay, let's see what we got here. So right there, we're at 6.5 feet deep. Water temperature 64 degrees.
That's a fair way out too.
Right. So now that tells me that if he did drive in here, you'd see the vehicle more than likely.
Yeah.
However, there are some locations on this lake that we might want to scan that guardrail there. I don't know how far that goes.
Can I suggest there's another little beachy kind of area there. Wind her in and we'll cast out that way and just change the distance.
You want me to throw it this time?
Oh no, because I don't want you to get wet boots.
Well, I can throw it from here just as far as you threw it from out there.
Oh, really? Really?
Nice. So it's a little bit deeper over there. We're looking at 9 feet.
But at 3 extra feet though.
Right.
It's a soft bottom lake.
So it's going to sink. Anything heavy in there is going to sink. 8 feet, 7.5. So yeah.
And you see
so it looks like the 9 feet is like the constant further out.
So I mean, we can check it with the boat, and we probably should. I just, in my mind, if you're over here, you're doing it on purpose. You would think you would pick a place that has a more deeper.
I think though, for the sake of thoroughness, boat in, those 2 entries and along that guardrail.
Yeah, I agree.
And then we can say 100%, hand on our heart, not
Absolutely.
in. When you looked at it on the map, the road kind of enters directly in front of each other like it was an old access road either way. So access point off the road into the water there, this point here, and then across the guardrail, you know, too fast around the corner, flip over the guardrail into the water. Unlikely, but we still need to check it.
Pretty shallow. We got about 5 feet of water here, 4 feet, super bare bottom. If there is a car in here, it'll be easy to see. We'll clear this first, and then we're gonna go over and hit the road where it comes close to the lake over there, and then we'll go over to this, what looks like an old boat ramp as well. There's a bit of growth right here. We're gonna go check this out. Yeah, I'm interested in this lump of like growth there. Why is there a mound of stuff and it's casting a shadow? We'll go over it here in a minute. You'll see.
That was weird. Doesn't that kind of look like wheels upside down?
Yeah, that does.
But the height of it doesn't make sense because that's only like a foot.
Yeah, well that angle it didn't. But wait till I come back here. I think it was actually on the left side of us on that one. Yeah, so what I'm looking at is that patch right there. But yeah, you're right. You'd almost be able to see it if we're only in 5 feet of water. However,
it stops at 2.5 feet, so that's, subtract the difference, that's about 5 feet in height.
Yeah, it's just growth.
So if this truck did come out here on this pathway behind us, you would have to launch it pretty fast, don't you think, in order to get out this far?
Oh yeah, and then, you know, you don't even know if it would go up there. Again, if he was purposely doing this, sounds like he's familiar with the area, he would pick a quarry that he's already got in mind. They have a steeper drop off. This, I mean, we're 100 feet offshore right now and we're in 4 feet of water. So this doesn't seem very probable to me. But we're gonna check it off the list either way. And it's looking pretty clear. I see a few rocks down below that you can definitely tell those are rocks. Let me see, these rocks. There's nothing there that looks man-made.
How do you know those are rocks though? Is it by the shadow that they're casting?
The shadow and the fact that there's nothing squared about them. In other words, they don't look man-made at all. So that's what I'm looking for, is a man-made shadow. You're also looking for something that's the size of a car too. And being that you've got your numbers here that can kind of give you the scale, that's how you can see if it matches a size of the car you're looking for. This is an F-150, so it's a fairly big object. There's nothing more to check. I'm gonna go over by that road real quick, but there's nothing in here. This is, even clear out here, we're only in 10 feet of water. Okay, so we're over here by the guardrail and where the road goes real close to the water right here. And this would be an accident scenario. You can see right up here that there's a possibility a vehicle could make it past the edge of that guardrail and down into the water. Right here where we're at though, it's only 6 feet deep and there's nothing down there. It's pretty clean. I see a few smaller rocks, but other than that, you can see real easy. So if there was a vehicle in here, it would stand out like a sore thumb. The shapes that I'm seeing, they are nothing more than some big boulders down there that aren't even the size of a vehicle. So we're almost across here. I'm gonna do one more pass just to double check, but it looks like we're clear here and we'll be moving on to our next location. I do think there's something to be said for the quarries. Based on all the information I'm reading and talking to Bill and Chris, sounds like the local quarries are gonna be areas of interest to us and not necessarily these lakes that are more out in the open.
But there's not a lot of places that like are deep. Because of the storms that have happened in Vermont in the last few years, they removed all the sticks and trees in the rivers because they were jammed up because the bridges all fell. Right. So they cleaned the rivers all the way to the dam. So they would have found something if something was in there, and then it went almost to dry, from heavy rains to dry.
And that one was the Winooski or the Mad River?
That's the Mad.
Okay.
Winooski was overflowing too.
Pretty shallow all the way around. It's the same over there, pretty shallow for way out, like 10 feet deep at the most. That's like 150 feet offshore. We checked over there. That's a little bit deeper, but there's only a few boulders that weren't even the size of like this. It was worth checking. Okay, off to the next.
So there's another one up the street here.
Okay.
This is a pond off the side. It has access to it. I just don't know how deep it is. It's off of 100. This is 100 right here. The party's another 2 miles down the road. So I think, our next piece is going to that pond there, down the street, and working our way towards the party, and then go beyond the party.
Public or private?
It's private.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on Quarry Road. We're gonna go up Quarry Road, and is what we'll do.
And off of Quarry Road also is where those other
three ponds were. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, there's 4 in essence in that section on Quarry Road.
But this, if he's talking to Lloyd, this is that secret out of the lake quarry.
Yeah. No, we have questions for you.
No. You're looking for a place to put that, is that correct?
No, we're actually looking for a missing person. They went missing back in 2006, Donnie Messier.
Oh, yeah.
And we're a team out of Oregon that travels the country specializing in finding vehicles underwater. There's a few ponds and a quarry up on this road.
Yep.
And we were seeing if we can get permission to go scope those out. We have little rafts with sonar equipment to see if there's a vehicle possibly that he was in the right state of mind. He possibly might have done this on purpose and drove himself into a body of water.
Not here. Our quarries are all open and no water sitting in them.
Okay.
Okay. The ponds are all surrounded by fence, so I would know if a vehicle went through there.
Okay.
And the pond is very shallow.
Okay.
And you wouldn't get very far out. The roof would show.
Gotcha. Okay.
How would you get out in a boat and look around, or what?
Well, yeah, but if you're saying there's a fence around there.
Yeah, I'm saying that.
Yeah.
So it was 2006. Was the fence there in 2006? Yeah.
You're welcome to go up and look at the quarries, but there's no water.
Gotcha.
Sitting in them. They're all exposed.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's about 12.5 feet right where we're at there. Because this shoreline here where there's no fence and accessible from the road, I think I want to put a boat in. It's a pretty steep drop off. And you got this hill right here. You get enough momentum, a vehicle could make it out there and go deep enough to where you wouldn't see it. Let's get a boat ready. Nothing out of the ordinary. It's clear. Okay, so we're right here where the blue dot is. We just cleared that pond.
Yep.
There's another pond just right over here.
Yep.
That one.
Let's do the one that's furthest away and then work up.
Yeah, because that one looks like it's not going to be big enough to be deep enough, but it's
Is there actually access to it, or is it all free?
The one that has the quickest access would be this next one over here. So 6 to 1, half a dozen there. That also looks slightly farther.
Anywhere along here.
Oh, you can see the bottom.
Oh.
It looks pretty shallow.
Yep. On to the next. Very shallow though.
These are newer houses here, I'm assuming. They look like it.
Yeah, those are 2000.
Yeah, you're not getting a car in there without it being still visible. Oh yeah, I can see clear out almost to the middle.
Oh well, at least we know now. These are cleared.
Yep.
We're gonna go back to the other pond down below, right? That last one, and then check that one, and then we'll shoot over to we're gonna go backwards and go back to the pond that is 30 feet deep. That is the man-made pond for the sugar bush.
You can see algae growing 30 feet off the shore.
Nah, I think this one's right, Nick.
Now later tonight, we're gonna have to have you, Brendan, check Dan for ticks.
Like a monkey?
So this is the location, apparently this is it, of where the party was that he was last seen at. And it was back behind there, there's like a field and some barns and stuff. Some of the witness statements said that Donnie's actions at the party were a little different. He was feeling down in the dumps, kind of depressed. He was kind of hanging out by himself. He told somebody that he was drinking for the wrong reasons. So we don't know exactly his state of mind, but it sounds like it wasn't necessarily in a normal state of mind. That's why, trying to put ourselves in the shoes of somebody that's feeling depressed. They've had a few drinks. Maybe that's making it even worse. And so, he left by himself and nobody really knows exactly which direction he went. So at this point in time, it could be any direction. That's why this is a very tough case where we really have to cover all our bases and just start close and go every direction and make sure we're checking all the waterways nearby. That affects our search a little bit, is that now we're looking for two things. One, a potential accident, but two, also potential self-harm scenario where he was looking for a place to drive off into the water. We already know that a couple months prior to this, he told his friend that he knew of a secret quarry that if he went there, nobody would ever find him. So, why would you say something like that? So now that makes us, we're looking at places that are off the beaten path, that are kind of secluded, that people wouldn't see it if he went there. So that, makes the search a little bit tougher because now we're looking at every possible scenario around the local area.
That's where we are. We're just through the woods, around this corner, and it's right there.
I just wonder why it says road closed.
Just because they're doing construction on it.
Okay. I'm gonna say we are right here.
Well, they went down there anyway.
They're gonna go scope it out.
Dan and Chris are going to meet with somebody to see if they can get access to the pond. So this is supposed to be the deepest body of water in the area because it's man-made, 30 feet. It looks pretty shallow, but this is the pond that actually feeds Sugarbush Mountain, which is a ski hill. There's pipes that run all the way up the hill to Sugarbush. So it could be a lot deeper than we see. And there's access all the way around the pond, so there's a trail all the way around it.
I think Dan is waving us over.
So this is just constructed in 1995 and it's only 5 feet deep at the moment. They're just in the process of draining it, so there's no chance that there's a vehicle in here.
The bottom will undulate a little bit, but I think the average depth out there is going to be about 5 feet right now, you know, with it in this drawn down condition.
Really? So like it being this low, I mean, Ben over here said that it got as deep as 30 feet in the middle. Is that true?
That's
or
not
no?
true at all.
Not at all?
It's never been that deep.
Ever?
No.
Okay. So what's its typical level at? Just like
you can actually see
lot?
you can see the bathtub ring right there. So where the vegetation ends, that's standardly what the normal water level would be in this reservoir.
So I think we need to get back towards the Winooski River. It's a little bit wider, bigger river. So, and there's also some ponds that are on the side of Route 2 and on River Road in that section where there's some dangerous turns too. So this section, there's some deep spots in this corner and in this corner. The road comes around tight on this side, and his house is over here.
Okay.
So
if he was going,
there's another bridge down that's like the Rector Set Bridge.
Sure.
That's down here, so you cross over. Butler Pond's over there. That's close to the road. This section's close to the road. So like going downstream this way and clearing it.
Which is this way.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, you can go as far as you want, and I mean, it's pretty beautiful little spot. So.
Okay. Oh yeah. It's a daunting task. There's a lot of water, a lot of options, a lot of places Donnie could have went once he left that party. And it just takes an incredible amount of time to cover all this ground and all this water. You gotta get away from that rock.
We got a big rock right there.
I see it, dude.
Oh, wow.
Dude, we were in like the shallowest water you've ever seen.
Dude, I could get out
and push
and
us.
just pull us. But I mean, this is like a fun little boat ride.
You say that now. Okay. Oscar-Hootie River. We're gonna leave these. It's awkward, but it works. It's like a mystery. We're going into the unknown right now. We're on the Winooski River, heading downstream, and we don't know where we're gonna get out or how we're gonna get out. So basically between now and the dam, we have to search all the possible waterways close to the road, River Road, that runs down next to the river, and we have to try to find a spot where, number one, we can get the boat up out of the river through the trees, and two, we have to find a spot that we can do that where the RV and the trailer can make it to. So it's like a little challenge. Now see, we're in deep water right here. You can't see the bottom, but there's no road or any way for a vehicle to get to this part of the river. So basically a lot of this time we're gonna be spending is just getting to the deep holes next to the road and then scan those areas. We're getting into pretty shallow water. I gotta get us across the river. We're in super shallow water. It's the benefit of these little boats. You ain't gonna do this with a big aluminum boat. We're skimming across the bottom. You hear that? Okay, we're back in like 3 or 4 feet of water. I'm gonna fire up the boat. I'm gonna take us over to where you can see, it looks like it's deeper on that edge, and that gets us closer to where the road's gonna eventually be. Okay, I can see vehicles now over here, and we've got a little bit of deep holes. I'm curious how deep it is. Real quick, let me just check. We're only in 4 feet of water. I can see the bottom, but we'll keep scanning it. You never know when there's gonna be some holes like this. We'll get closer to the road here. This is River Road. You can see the bottom right over here. This side I can, but it could be this angle of the sun in relation to where we're going. Uh-oh. We got more rapids coming up. I gotta get ready.
Right now, they're going down this way towards North Duxbury. But they're following, in essence, Route 2 and River Road, which goes all the way down. So if he came this way on the Route 2, or if he came this way, that way on River Road,
okay.
There's bends in each one of them that are...
Does he know to stop at that first pond? Or do you need to call him?
I think we could probably call him and tell him that he could stop at Berlin Pond, or we could come around on Route 2 and
just stop there.
So let's check it out. I'm gonna pull these up because we're getting shallower as we get closer to these rapids. And we're basically just gonna have to kind of leapfrog this.
Hey, you can't fish there! You can't fish there! Where's your boat registration?
4 feet, still pretty shallow. We're still following River Road. There's a hole coming up here. It's definitely potential. Oh, it's getting shallow there. Careful. So we're in 8 feet of water. So technically, the vehicle could be under here. And even though the vehicle's red, remember a lot of times vehicles end up upside down once they go into water, because once they fill up, hang on a second. Once they fill up, the buoyancy of the tires turns them over. Double check something that we went over here.
This right here?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a truck.
I mean, it could just be a rock, but I gotta scan that at a couple angles to...
We could scan it, or since this is shallow enough, I suggest that maybe we could put our live scope right over it, and we could take a look at that, and if we can, we could just drop a magnet on it, just to see.
Yeah.
Right there, we're coming up on it, I think. See, it's just, wait. Doesn't that look like the bed of a truck?
Yeah.
Right there, at the back? Doesn't that look like it's buried?
There's something square in there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, what is that? Right there. Right there.
That almost looks like a cab. I mean, the height doesn't add up. It's not the right height.
Unless it was buried for a while?
Because of that flood in 2011. And then the flood pushed all the silt.
Yeah, if it would have came off and maybe, I mean, it's too close to the surface, but if it's upside down The color of the bottom of the vehicle is dark.
We need to move just a little bit more this way.
This way, you think?
Just a little bit more.
Sure?
I'm sure. Just because we're not right over it with our live scope, it's like right under us. So we need to go a little bit more left. So here it comes up. What is that? See that? See that? That's what we're looking at. So now we're right over it, but I think that might be a rock all day long.
I can see you're bouncing right on top of it, so if it's not sticking, keep doing it because we're going right over the top of the high part, which would be the cab. Right about now. Yep, that would be like the windshield-ish or something. Nothing? Must keep doing it as we go.
It's so weird. Like if that's a rock, that's a pretty weird rock because it feels like it wants to stick. But I mean, to me, I feel like
it's not tall enough.
It's not the right height.
Okay.
I'm bouncing off of it.
Yeah, if it was a F-150's got a lot of steel in it, especially if it's upside down or even right side up.
The year he went missing too. Do you remember the year?
2006.
He went missing in 2000.
So 16.
2006. So it's gonna be a rock. I feel like if it is a vehicle,
I just don't think it's really tall enough.
Like it's just all that's left is a frame, you know? But it does. At times it feels like it wants to stick, but I almost feel like it's just my magnet getting stuck in a little crevice.
It's just a rock. I don't feel any like...
No magnetic pull.
No, it's not. Okay.
If it was a car, I feel like it'd be super.
Yeah, we would, with two of us, you'd feel it. I think it would take more force than what we're using to pull the magnet off of it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, dude, now I'm looking at it from out here we just went over. Look at that. I don't know. But magnets don't lie. It's just not tall enough.
But we had the same problem the other day when I was in the boat with Jared. Those cars we found, we put the magnet all over it and it wouldn't stick. That's why there was no buoy attached to it. We know where it's at. We know where it's at. If we have to dive, we could go dive on it. So if that is a vehicle, it's got to be something from like the 50s. 30 years old, 50 years old, definitely not.
Not only 16 years, yeah.
Yeah.
So here we are going down the Winooski River. We're still following River Road, so anywhere along here still could be a possibility. Where it turned, the road is going to turn and disappear away from the river. There's another bridge coming up downtown. We can go all the way to where the river ends, it looks like. Okay, I see him up there. Should we get out here or keep going?
Probably best to get out here, then we can just eyeball spots along the way.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot. There's only a couple spots that were deep enough.
Yeah, I'll open up the back of the trailer. Go ahead and bring it up.
Okay.
My conclusion was that if it is a vehicle, it's something like 30, 50 years plus.
Or any storms just completely ripped the top and shredded it.
That's why we thought, that's why we put a magnet on it.
Smash it, it wouldn't be disintegrated, ripped off the top like the other.
A lot of ice blow down through it.
Yeah.
Right, because the height didn't add up, and I was like, but that storm in 2011, and it could be buried. So that's why we got the magnet out and started putting it on it, and we just couldn't get a good stick on it.
Yeah, I don't see any tires on it. So.
Yeah, no, we didn't. I mean, at one point it looked like what could maybe be a cab, but
a cab
if that was the case, it would have been the rest of it would have been at the bottom of the creek in the river.
Like just buried.
Right.
Yeah.
Or downstream.
So the question now at this point, I mean, are you still 50-50? Are you 100% confident? Like
I'm 100% confident with, I mean, what I know, that it's not anything. If it is something, it's something like super old.
In my mind, I'm still questioning it.
To the extent that you like to dive on it?
No, but it's right off the shore. I'd like to go back and throw the magnet in.
Okay.
And see what you think, and see if we can because the current kept kind of screwing with us. It was hard to like stay in one spot and really work it.
Right.
And like he was saying, that you've seen spots before where it felt like, he was saying it felt like it was gonna stick, but it didn't.
And you just can't really tell if it's like
tried
getting stuck
it, and
on like
I didn't feel any magnet.
But the water's only 10 feet, right?
Yeah.
It was 10 feet deep total.
Put a mask on, you should be able to see it, right?
Like a pony bottle?
Yeah.
Take a pony bottle? I mean, I'll go do that.
Wait, do you want to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I already got in the water. I know how cold it is.
It was the only object that had.
How far from the road? I think it can
Oh, it's like less than 6 feet away.
You remember where you guys were, where you stopped the last time where Brandon hiked down and was filming us?
Yeah.
100 yards downstream from that.
If you want to give me like a pony ball, I'll go over the
Let's
mask.
go back up there because we can pull off plenty.
Sure.
It makes a perfect sense for somebody to shoot a vehicle off of there.
Well, yeah, that's what we
Identify
thought. That's
what it
the
is,
reason I was
'cause
like,
it's
man, this
100
would
yards
make
down from
sense.
Yeah, if you want to do a pony bottle.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll put my swimsuit on and take a pony bottle.
Okay. Let's do that.
Yeah, there's a little point right down here, 75, 100 yards. Yeah. There's like a little pool. You can't really see it unless you were to walk down here. I mean,
it's a dumping spot. So, I mean, if you look at it, there's car parts, there's tires, there's other things that have been dumped in here.
yeah, so see where it goes like this? Where it comes back to that point, it's right off that point. So 75 yards, maybe 100. If somebody could have launched off here, there's a possibility they could end up where this was at, so. And you got the mask?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're gonna kill it, dude. We're gonna make a scuba diver out of you yet. Test it. There you go.
That works.
And when you put that on, you can wedge your lip underneath that seal and it keeps them a little bit warmer.
Right.
And then turn your light on. Yeah, so I would go in up current a little bit and then work your way down. You remember how far out it is? It's not very far. You could see pretty good. You should be able to see it. You know how to equalize as your ears start to feel pressure. Plug your nose and exhale a little bit, okay?
On to the left, got it. All right.
Turn it on, just a hair more. There you go.
All right, lights all working?
Yep, remember, as you're going down, don't forget to equalize early and often, every like 3 feet,
Right.
okay?
All right, dude, I think I'm ready.
Do you want to take this or no?
Yeah, let me take it.
There you go. You're good. And if you need to, you can let the light dangle until you need to grab it. Good luck. What'd you find?
I think we just found Donnie.
It surprises me that that one 10-foot hole in that entire stretch of river that we scanned, that's where it was.